Resident Evil Survivor.
I find that a lot of people don't know this, but before Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, before the Dark Side and Umbrella Chronicles, before Outbreak File 2 and Outbreak File 1, and even before Resident Evil Gaiden, there was Survivor. That's right, this is the very first Resident Evil spin-off game, making this the grandfather of all the other subpar and flat-out bad Resident Evil titles. The game itself starts out with this guy who has no clue who he is. After that, the plot gets really fucking stupid, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Here's my very first complaint with this game. If you've never played Resident Evil Survivor before, you probably wouldn't even believe what I'm about to tell you. But you cannot save in this game. There are no continues. You're expected to beat this entire piece of shit in one sitting. What imbecile thought that was a good idea? In all the other Resident Evil games up to that point, which would be 1, Director's Cut of 1, 2, and 3, you could save as many times as you damn well wanted. Granted, you had to be close to a typewriter and have an ink ribbon, but both of those things were abundant in the game. In this fuckwad, you're expected to fight zombie dogs, lickers, hunters, spiders, and various tyrants without dying a single time. I played this game for an entire hour, and finally just gave up because I couldn't play this piece of fucking shit anymore. And look at this! It has the balls to put a load game option in the title screen. Why the fuck is this option even here when I can't save the game to begin with? We'll call this nice heap of dog shit right here strike one. After you get past the fact that you can't save, you really start paying attention to how shitty the plot of this game is. The guy can't remember who he is and spends the entire game trying to find out. The voice acting is just horrendous.
Who is this? Vincent? Who's that?
The locations of the game are pretty lackluster too. It all takes place on an island, but that shouldn't be an excuse because so does the majority of Code Veronica, and those locations are pretty unique in nature. Now, here's the biggest problem with this game. It plays like a Resident Evil game. You've got your standard herbs, keys, and decent amount of backtracking. Now, usually that's a great thing, especially with some of the newer games that have little to no resemblance to their survival horror roots. But in this game, it's just the shits! You sometimes have to do a lot of moving around to navigate, which with this guy is just a pain in the ass. There is this run feature, but when the guy walks, he's a fucking snail. Not to mention, this guy can't run or walk in a curve. He's got to run in a straight direction, then turn. How does that make any sense? That shit right there is strike 2, but only because I got to this part where you have to fight hunters, and it's nearly fucking impossible. Also, if you've played this game, you'd know there's a ton of green herbs in there. Why is that? Probably because you can't save the game, and it's trying to be fair. But look at this! I've gotten hit by this tyrant like 6 times, and I'm still on fine health! If this were any other game, I'd be fucking dead. Now, for my very last complaint. The controls of this game are a fucking joke. You have to use the D-pad to aim the cursor and aim where to shoot. This often leads to a shitload of shots that are missed because you have a pretty big loss in accuracy. That's an issue in and of itself, but the major fault in logic comes in the form of a simple fucking headshot. You'd think in a zombie first-person shooter that it'd work like in real life, where if you shoot a zombie in the head, he dies, right? Not in this fucking game. Look at this! How can he even have brains at this point? Hey Leon, you wanna give me a hand here?
Shoot them in the head.
I'm trying that, Leon, but it's not.
Shoot them in the head.
You don't see.
The only way to stop them is to shoot them in the head. Shoot them in the head.
Fuck you, Leon! That's Resident Evil Survivor. A pretty big piece of shit that the Resident Evil franchise is just better off without. Can you believe that this game got like 2 sequels and a spin-off in the Dino Crisis universe? That's fucking bullshit, which is the rating this game gets. Oh, and I did forget to mention the one good thing about this game, and that's the kick-ass music. So play us off, Resident Evil Survivor OST.